Tuesday, May 30th, 2017, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So markets yesterday were very quiet. The city of London was closed for a bank holiday and the US is closed for Memorial Day. So really nothing to talk about from yesterday, except for maybe Italian government bonds spiked higher, their yields from around 2.1% to 2.19%. That's still really low. When I worked in the markets in the city of London, I did a lot of business with Italian government bonds, and I remember them being over 10%. So 2% still really low. So we just need to keep an eye on that for now. So far this morning, it's 11:20 a.m. London, so 6:20 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'll start out with gold and see what's been going on. The price of gold traded to a high of 1270.71 overnight. It has come off a bit. We traded down to a low of 1261.60, and this is spot gold. Right now we're at 1264, so down just under $3. Silver traded up to 17.49, the spot price. We're now at 17.32, down about 8 cents. Dow down 18 points, 21,054. S&P down 2.5 points at 2411, still at very elevated levels, near all-time highs in the Dow, and I think we are at, very near the all-time highs in the S&P 500 as well. What else? The dollar index down about 0.13% at 97.46. The dollar did rally earlier on today to like 97.76, but it's now come off. Currencies, the pound was weaker earlier, traded down to 127.93, and right now it's strengthened. It's 128.60, up 20 pips. The dollar is weaker against the yen at 111.01, down 0.25%. We've been down to 110.77. The euro is virtually unchanged, 111.62. Cryptocurrencies, as usual, have been fairly volatile. On Saturday, Bitcoin traded, I think, just below 1,900. And right now, we're at 2,281 as per worldcoinindex.com. The 24-hour high for them has been 2306. I think we've seen higher prices than that on other exchanges. Ethereum back up above 200 right now. It's at 208.40. They have a high of 220 in the last 24 hours. So Ethereum doing well. What else? Dash up to 119.40. 120 has been the high. Let's have a look at Steam. What's Steam doing? If I can find it here. Steam is at 0.99, so I think we got down to 0.6 on Saturday. So all the cryptocurrencies have rebounded after sharp corrections we saw on Saturday. I think the 50% retracement of the top of 2,800 in Bitcoin and the low we saw around 1,900. It's going to be roughly just over 2,400. So that's going to be 2,400, 2,450 will be a resistance coming up now for Bitcoin. In terms of this week, the main event in terms of economic data is the U.S. non-farm payroll on Friday, the jobs data. The Fed, of course, this month is expected to raise rates to 1.25%. The meeting takes place June 13th and June 14th. On June 14th, there's a press conference and the announcement press conference by Janet Yellen. She'll talk about all their forecasts and what they see going forward. Zero Hedge says the Fed is about to hike. Why that is bullish for bonds. And it seems a little bit, not a bit of a non sequitur to say that the Fed's going to hike rates and the bonds are going to go up, but it makes sense. Longer term yields, longer term bonds might go up and their yields might go down because the Fed is raising the short term rates into a slowing economy. I think over the weekend, there's another Fed member who said that he didn't expect GDP to be more than 2% for the US this year. So what I think the Fed's doing is they know the economy is going to slow down, but they couldn't have rates near zero. If they're going to get a recession, they have to have it maybe at 1.25%, 1.5%, and then they can, cut from there, maybe back to 0.5% or zero. Because with the US dollar as the reserve currency, it's very hard for the Fed to have negative interest rates. I think that could be quite disruptive, and I think it's probably very disruptive as well for pensioners, for investors, for insurance companies, for public pension funds. They need a little bit of yield in order to keep their recipients with an income. Maybe the Feds realize you cut rates to zero, you're gonna, all the baby boomers, they're gonna lose a lot of income, and that's not good for the economy. So maybe that's what they're thinking. In terms of other things going on in the world, I guess the UK election, June 8th, that's coming up next week. That's very close. Not in terms of the polling, but I think Labour has picked up a little bit, but right now it looks the pound's gone up because the Conservative lead has stabilized. I personally think longer term, it won't make much difference who wins. The UK is still a heavily indebted nation, be it the government or the public or the corporations. If Labour were to win, that would be a big shock. I think it would just accelerate the debasement of the pound, and the debasement of the pound means that the debt would be paid off with cheaper, with a currency that's worth less. I think the Tories or the Conservatives are going to do the same thing, but it's more of a control thing. I think the markets will give them more of a benefit of the doubt. But if you look since 2014 with the Tories in power, the pound's dropped from, 170 to just under 130 right now. So, and they've promised that they were going to balance the budget by 2015, and here we are in 2017, and they can't even say that they're going to do it by 2020. So yes, maybe Labour and Gordon Brown bankrupted the country, but the Conservatives have kept piling on the debt, and if they hadn't run their budget deficits like they have, GDP would have been negative, because don't forget, government spending is added on to GDP. So if the government budget is like 3-4% of GDP, that means that the budget deficit is 3-4% of GDP. That means that if they had a balanced budget, the GDP would have dropped by 3 or 4%. And we've had these huge deficits, at least 3-4% for the last 8 years. So I think it's a bit of a mirage and a bit of, smokes and mirrors that the economy is growing well in the UK. Yeah, what else? So, no, that's about it for now. Things still fairly quiet. Let's keep an eye on gold and silver this week, see if, the positive technicals that we've seen developing will continue. And if we can see gold make new highs above 1270 and see silver get back above 1750, Bitcoin cryptocurrencies, yeah, for the long haul, they're going to be volatile. Don't buy it all at once. I did buy a little bit of Bitcoin on Saturday when we were below 2,000. You know, I'm not going to sell it. I just take the opportunity when we see big corrections to add on a little bit. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it far and wide, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Follow me on steemit.com as well. And if you'd like to make a donation, there's some links below in the description. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.